social media doesn't necessarily sell books. Authenticity does. Now, I know that sounds almost too simple because we've been told the opposite so many times that it's started to feel like truth. We've been told that if you don't have a platform, you don't even have a shot. And I'm here to say that's just not what I see in the lives of real authors. Hey, friend. Welcome to Your Right Life Coach, the podcast for heart-led authors who are ready for motivation and momentum. I'm Alice Kreider, your Right Life Coach, and I am so glad you're here today. I want to ask you something, and I'd like for you to think it over before you answer. Have you ever typed a question into a search bar or a Facebook group or a writing forum, something like, how to publish a book? Or how can I get a literary agent to represent me? Or maybe you've attended a writer's conference looking for answers to those same questions. And wherever you turn, you've gotten back some version of the same answer. Build your platform, grow your following, post consistently, be everywhere, show up on Instagram, start a Facebook group, make YouTube videos. There's so much advice out there. But if you've been writing for any length of time, you've heard it all. Possibly so many times that it started to feel less like advice and more like a verdict. Like maybe you're not on social media. If you're not building an audience, if you don't have 10,000 followers, you never reach your readers. Today, I want to push back on that. Well, I'm almost always pushing back on that because I've been watching the writing community for a long time. I've edited hundreds of books. I've sat across from hundreds of authors at every stage of their journey, and what I keep seeing again and again is that authenticity reaches readers in ways that algorithms never will. That's what's at the heart of this podcast, authenticity over algorithms. So today I want to tell you a story. Several years ago, when I was working in traditional publishing, a man came to the publishing house where I worked, and he had something extraordinary. He wasn't a writer. He'd never considered himself a writer. In fact, he was a rocket scientist. And that's not a metaphor. That was his actual job. But he loved the Bible, he loved God, and he had young kids at home and wanted his children to love those things too. So he did what a lot of parents do. He made up stories at bedtime, stories about knights in a kingdom, stories with honor and courage woven into them, rooted in the values he cared about most. His kids loved those stories. And then they told their friends about the stories. And the friends wanted to come over and hear about them too. And before long, the parents of those friends began asking the man if he could possibly write the stories down so they could read them with their own children. So he wrote them down and he shared them. And then he started self-publishing them. He began sharing them at homeschool conventions, sharing them just with families, talking to parents face to face, one conversation at a time. He had no media strategy. He had no social media, no email funnel, no content calendar. He was just a rocket science with a full heart of stories and a desire to share something true with families who needed it. And the demand kept growing. He had a distribution problem. He had more orders than he could fulfill on his own. And that's when he came to Waterbrook Press, where I was working. He came in to ask about distribution because he couldn't keep up with the demand. And Waterbrook not only helped him distribute the books he had, but they contracted the rest of his books entirely and published several more. The series ended up at 6 books. 6 books. A traditional publisher built entirely on word of mouth, in-person community, and a genuine heart-led desire to serve a specific group of people. No platform, no following, just authenticity. So here's what I want you to hear out of this. This is not a 1 in a million story. I've watched this happen in different forms over and over again across many years in publishing. The names and the genres and the paths are different. The stories and the messages are different, but the heart of it is always the same. Follow your heart, be open to creative ideas, and trust that when your work is genuinely meant for someone, it'll find its way to them. So, from everything that I've been watching over the years, here's what I want to reflect back to the writing community right now. First of all, social media doesn't necessarily sell books. Authenticity does. Now, I know that sounds almost too simple because we've been told the opposite so many times that it's started to feel like truth. We've been told that if you don't have a platform, you don't even have a shot. And I'm here to say that's just not what I see in the lives of real authors. What I see is this: readers connect to something real. They connect to a person who genuinely has something to say, something to give, an engaging story to tell, not to constant generic posts on Facebook and Instagram. There's a difference, and most readers can feel it. So, what does this actually look like in practical terms? Well, let me give you two things to hold on to from the rocket scientist story. Number one, follow your heart. This man was not trying to build a brand. He was just trying to love his kids well. He was writing from a place so specific and so genuine that it couldn't help but be compelling. And I've been noticing this pattern in the authors I work with. The ones who write from that deep, true place tend to attract readers who are equally passionate, because passion recognizes passion. If you find yourself writing something because you think it's what people want, or worse, because you think it'll perform well on social media or it seems to be trending in the marketplace, I want to ask you, what would you write if no one was watching? What would you write if you had nothing to prove? What would you write for the people you care about most? And most importantly, who would you write for? That answer is usually closer to your readers than any algorithm. So number two, be open to creative ideas about how your work finds people. The rocket scientist didn't dream up a grand marketing strategy. He just said yes to opportunities that made sense for his world, his kids' friends, the parents who asked, the homeschool conventions where he already had community. He worked with what was in front of him. Now, this pattern isn't common, but it is effective. So many authors get stuck because they're looking for the right way to reach readers, the validated, approved, everyone else is doing it way. But the most interesting reader-finding stories and messages I've ever witnessed started with someone doing something that made complete sense for their specific life, their specific community, their specific calling. What's already in your world? Who already knows you? Where do your potential readers already gather? Those are not small questions. Those might be the exact questions that change everything for you. Now, I want to say one more thing about this, and then I want to give you a very practical next step. You don't need 100,000 readers to have a meaningful writing life. What I've watched work over and over is finding your first 100 readers, not 100 random followers, 100 true fans, 100 people who genuinely love what you're making and want to tell someone else about it. Because those 100 people, they do the work that no social media algorithm ever could. That's the real platform, the one made of human beings who care. So here's your invitation for this week. Don't think about your platform. Think about one person, just one person who would genuinely love what you're writing. Picture them. Who are they? Where are they? What do they need that your book offers? Sit with that, be specific, and let it be real. And if you want a step-by-step path to finding your first 100 readers, with no ads, no big platform, no guessing, I've made something for you. I call it your First 100 Readers Roadmap, and you can grab it for free through the link in the show notes. It's a practical guide to finding your first true fans in a way that actually fits who you are. If you want to go deeper with this, if authenticity over algorithms is resonating with you and you want to actually live it out with support, I'd love for you to check out other offerings on my website, alicekreider.com. And remember, you have a story worth telling, friend. You have a message to share, and you don't have to hustle your way to the people who need it. You just have to show up, stay true, and trust the path. I'll see you next time, and until then, keep writing, keep showing up, because your words matter.